So we had a thrilling start, thrilling end. Perhaps not the most exciting in middles, but it panned out very well for Valtteri Bottas.
Superb. I think he had a brilliant start. I mean, he just measured himself, hasn't he, against all the Olympians, and he's absolutely spot on, and he held his nerve. I mean, it's a difficult race. It was a bit of a race of a tactical race and a bit of a, watching the clock, and it just shows you that these strategies that they work on are dealing with at the end of the race. They know the margins are going to be tight, and the drivers do make a difference, but it's very difficult on a circuit like this to make a huge difference. Yeah,
I mean, there was some blistering late on. They were all complaining about blistering late on, and you can see evidence of it there. But they nursed at home. They all did. They all had a bit of that going on.
Yeah, it was a bit of a funny. I think a lot of people are a bit surprised by the way this circuit has treated the tyres. I think they've all been a little bit at a loss. We're just on board here with we're basically watching how close it was at the end, I guess, to Bottas, and of course, another couple of laps, but you don't know for sure. I think Valtteri, that could have gone on for days, that position. I think Valtteri was able to just keep ahead of Sebastian.
Yeah, I mean, and it's going to have a closer look at it in a few moments' time, but that start, I mean, right on the edge of being perfect. 1,000th away from being, or 2,000th away from being illegal, if you like. But, hey, perfect.
I don't get this, having a kind of a prediction of a jump start. And we're actually joined by James Allison here. Actually, we're just talking about the start. And, I mean, tell us, how did he do that? And do you think that there should be a preemptive penalty? Surely if you preempt the lights coming on, that's skill or luck or gambling or something. You should be applauded for that.
Well, the rules have been like this forever, so it's just the way it's always been. He was positive at the start, not negative, and so it's a fair start.
Yeah, I mean, he had to hold off a good challenge towards the end there. Were there any concerns? I mean, we just saw a little bit of blistering towards the end, but it looked like that was manageable.
Were there any concerns? Yeah. Are you serious? Of course there were. No, it was wonderfully tense. Yeah. Wonderfully tense, but also all the sweeter when it actually comes your way at the end. So the fact that he held off Sebastian to the finish was just fantastic.
So when you do your strategies, do you know it's going to be that close by the end of the race, or is it down to the drivers that make it that close? What happens?
No, you don't know, because things like he had a blister, and the blister makes it very non-linear, quite difficult to predict exactly what will happen. First stint, he was just mighty and easily able to deal with the pace of the Ferrari. Second stint, a bit harder.
I was going to say, Simon, that Lewis didn't have such a great weekend. Can you put your finger on why he wasn't so happy with the car in qualifying? He was complaining about the front wing, or too much front wing in the race as well.
Well, I think if you actually look at Lewis's progression through the race, he lost a lot of time behind the slower cars at the beginning, and then he made time up on the leaders throughout. And if you look through the weekend, he's been super quick through the weekend. Just a gearbox penalty doesn't make for a very promising day on Sunday.
Yeah, if it was damage limitation for him, he's right back in the mix now. You'd have to say, Valtteri, for the championship, James.
Well, it's an incredibly open season across the board, isn't it? We come to every race weekend not knowing what the outcome is going to be, and that is a fantastic thing for all of us, honestly. It's a bit tense, but it's also brilliant.
And what about his attitude? Just tell us a little bit about this man's attitude on screen now, Valtteri, because it's just the way he goes about his business. I think everyone's impressed. He's a very likeable fella, quietly does it.
He is very likeable. He's also utterly calm at all points, and just removes any sort of psychodrama from the weekend, which is a great benefit for a team. And he's got a very tidy turn of speed, as we've seen. He's very reliable, and we're very fortunate to have him.
That's it, calm heads whilst all others are losing theirs. James, we appreciate your time. Thanks very much. Let's get the thoughts of Lewis Hamilton, 4th today from 8th. Talking to Natalie Pinkham.
You really kept us on the edge of our seats at the end there. My goodness, another couple of laps, would you have got him?
I have no idea. I gave it everything I could, so...
This weekend was always about damage limitation for you, and when you consider that, to get a good haul of points in 4th, can you take some heart from that?
Well, that's all I can do, so I will, and just move on.
I mean, all weekend you don't seem to quite be yourself. Is this just because of the issues that have been going on within the team and the penalties and the issues with Seb? You don't kind of seem your normal ebullient self.
I think that would just be an assumption from yourself. I feel good. It's obviously been a difficult weekend, and yeah, what else can I say?
So how do you kind of get things back on track ahead of your home race? Because Silverstone's a place that you do thrive.
Yeah, I have a couple of days, down days now, and look forward to seeing the home crowd, and hope that hopefully won't approach Silverstone with any problems. So hopefully start with a clean slate then.
I'll see you next weekend.
There we go, and the Belederhosen, I think that's how you pronounce it. Christian Horner's alongside me, third for Ricardo, Max off in front of all those Dutch fans. Let's start with that. Would he have lasted with the clutch issue that he had anyway?
Well, until we get the car back, it's difficult to know. I mean, he went into an anti-stall at the start, and then obviously got collected at the first corner, quite a big impact. And then obviously he's had a clutch issue, after that. So whether there's any relation to him, we won't know until we get the car back.
I mean, Christian, we're getting to those kind of circuits that I think that you're looking forward to most of all, because here you are competitive in the race, right up there in the mix, I think, wouldn't you say?
I mean, I think this season has been one of our most competitive Grand Prix, and Daniel, if you look at his sector times through the middle sector, was the strongest car through there. So, it was only in the last few laps when Mercedes really turned things up and gave Lewis that extra power that he was able to get onto the back of him.
I know Max has had bad luck, but I mean the performance of Daniel Ricciardo, you have to say he's incredibly solid, isn't he, in a race? He seems to always get through, and he's always there in the frame pushing.
He's great under pressure. I mean, there was a huge amount of pressure, and he's driving qualifying laps at the end there, and because he knew he had to make the time in the middle sector to buy himself a little bit of distance coming onto the start-finish straight, and just zero mistakes, and to get his fifth podium in a row is quite remarkable.
Can you get him a new shoe?
Sorry?
Can you get him a new shoe?
He's going through shoes pretty quickly. I'm almost as quickly as I'm going through Lederhosen.
No, it was canny, wasn't it? That move under the DRS down that back straight at the top of the hill, as you were saying. Lesser drivers might have panicked at that situation.
Well, absolutely. It's very easy to go in too deep, lock your brake up, go into, and then the other car gets the undercut. But he judged it perfectly. He picked his braking point. He nailed the apex, and that gave Lewis nowhere to go.
Okay, now, as Damon touched upon then, if you think about it, Silverstone could be strong there, strong in Hungary traditionally. What are you looking at? What's the target now? How are you reassessing your targets for the season, Christian?
Well, we're just trying to keep making progress. We feel like we've made a bit more progress here. Silverstone hopefully is a circuit that will come a little bit more to us as well. Hungary's an opportunity. Everybody in the team's doing a great job in just getting that performance to the car.
I was going to say it's also helpful if you want to keep your drivers to provide them with a competitive car.
Well, so everybody loves a competitive car. So, the drivers, there's no issues with the drivers. A lot of spins, goes on in the media and so on. But the drivers, they're doing a great job. There's no two other drivers that I prefer to have in these cars at the moment. And, they can see that the performance is coming.
And was he really disappointed today, Max? What are you going to say to him? That's 5 now, DNFs out of the last 7, but today,
It's massively tough for him, but, he will come through a stronger character. And, there's times in a Grand Prix driver's career and you forget how young he is, and he's taking it on the chin. And of course, that's especially hard when he's seeing the other car getting the podiums that, he feels he should be achieving. So, but it will come right for him. He's performing at such a high level that I think when it does come right, he could quite easily win 3 races in a row.
Before you go, can we have a look at the crash? What are you going to say to Danny Kvyat, re this? What will the team say?
See, Max got into anti-stall, so he's out of position from where he should be. He's then, up on the outside, and 3 into 1 doesn't go, so you can't blame Fernando. Obviously, Kvyat's snuck up the inside. It was probably a bit too he's made the mistake, obviously, there, locking up and then careering into Alonso. But
it's not the first time we've seen it for Danny. I mean, I'm thinking of Russia last year with Sebastian Vettel. Where does he? I know that this is for the Toro Rosso team, but as far as the Red Bull family is concerned, Danny under contract for next year. Will he be returning? Do you think?
I can't see. He's not going to be judged on that move. No. That's a racing incident, and I think he's been actually having a pretty good season. So we've got plenty of time. I can't see any reason why Red Bull would want to change him at this point in time. So let's see how things pan out.
Let you get out of those, hey? Must be a bit sweaty under there.
I think I might keep him on for the rest of the day now.
Yeah. Lovely.
Very good.
Jerry will love that. Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.